Terrible Reviews. Hello all you horror fans, I'm David, and this is Terrible Reviews. Today's movie is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Now, going into this, I knew that this movie was my least favorite in the series, but it has been some years since I've seen it, so I'd kind of forgotten a little bit of why it was my least favorite. But oh boy, did the movie remind me very quickly. So, without further ado, let's get right into the scores. So, starting off with terror. Is this movie scary? Not really. Now, there are some visuals that are kind of like scary, but overall, I have to give this a 2 out of 5. It was terrible. As far as the gore or the special effects though, that was the strongest part of this movie. It was pretty decent throughout the movie. There was definitely some scenes with Freddy that they did some things with that worked really well, especially from an effects standpoint, and were kind of scary. But there was also some really bad effects in this movie, and it didn't really hold up to the standard that the first movie set up. So I can only give this a 3 out of 5 for gore. And now we get to story. Now, this movie's story sucks very badly, and I wish I could say anything good about it, but I can't. They tried too hard to make this like different from the first movie, and it just did not work at all. I will spoil a little bit. It is about Freddy trying to take control of a person, the main character, and like use them to kill people. So with that, there's not really nightmare scenes in this movie. You get 2 that I can count off the top of my head that are like actual like nightmare scenes that like kind of follow what the first movie did. But other than that, it's them trying to like mix reality and the dream state together, which they do way better in future films. Spoiler alert. But in this movie, it just did not work for me at all. The other thing is, the acting is kind of atrocious in this. They didn't do a great job, although I think it might fall more on the writing for this than it will the actors, because there is no character building in this at all. Things just kind of happen, and that's it. The characters don't really go through any development at all. You don't really get introduced to the characters at all, or like what they do. It's just kind of like, hey, they're living in Nancy's house. Evil shit happened here, and now this guy's going crazy. And that's pretty much it. So I can't give this a good score. It was awful. The story just does not work. It doesn't. It doesn't follow suit with the rest of the movies. And even though there are other bad Nightmare on Elm Street movies, this one just didn't feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It felt like something that someone put Freddy Krueger in, but made him not really be Freddy Krueger, if that makes any sense. But yeah, and the finger claws, like, no. Just no. So, story, 1 out of 5. And lastly, fun. Was this movie fun? Still no. But I will give it a 2 out of 5 because the effects were decent, and some of them were nice to look at, so I did enjoy that, but the rest of the movie, I can't say the same. So, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, was it terrifying or terrible? It was very, very terrible. If you are going to watch the series, I recommend that you actually skip this one unless you really want to watch all of the movies. This one is not worth your time. It is not worth adding into the franchise at all. Honestly, I wish we could just remove it because it does not feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and it does not hold up to any other Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So, have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street 2? If you have, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to follow, and I'll see you guys in the next review.